Hi everyone. I'll just wait for everyone that's registered to get into the webinar before we start. So I'll give it 30 seconds or so. Okie dokie. I think we'll go ahead and start. There's quite a few people that's coming through, which is great. So my name's Anita. Some of you may know me. I work for the PIHMS student recruitment team. And my role is to help students with the application process. Normally this time of year, I would be heading into schools and heading to careers expos and talking to students about PIHMS, which is part of my job role that I really, really love. And so it's been a bit strange working from home over the past 6-7 weeks. So I'm coming live to you from my kitchen diner, which has been my makeshift office. And the reason why we decided to put this session on for careers advisors is so that you can get an update on our course and also hear from the industry. So this session will last around about an hour. I'll run through a bit of an update on our course, and some of you may be new to the role, so you might not know much about us, so that will be covered. And then we have some guest speakers from the industry, including a PIMS graduate who's currently working for Tourism Fiji. And you'll also hear from some of our lecturers as well. And one of them is going to be doing a bit of a virtual tour of PIMS, who's currently on campus. For those of you that have never attended a Zoom webinar before, there are a couple of functions. So at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a Q&A box. So throughout the webinar, you'll be able to hear myself and the speakers and see us, but we cannot hear you or see you. So the Q&A box is there for you to ask any questions, and we will try our best to answer them live. Depending on how many questions come in, we may not get to everyone. So we will type answers to you, but also after the session, I will send out a recording and also a link to our website where we'll have all the questions that were asked throughout the session and all the answers as well. And so first off, what I want to do is introduce you to the other members of the student recruitment team. And first up is Michelle.
Hey guys, I'm Michelle. I probably would have met some of you at the CAKE conference last year, maybe not. So I've recently taken over Andrew's role, who used to go on the road. So I've taken over some of his allocation. Prior to that, I was looking after our international students, their visas and insurances. So I still look after some of that alongside Rachel, who's in the square down there, I think. But yeah, a little bit of a mixed bag, but I'm learning from Anita. Trying to copy her, be as amazing as she is. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Thanks, Michelle. And next up is Angie. I will just unmute you, Angie, 2 seconds. There you go, we can hear you now.
I'll start again. Hi. PIMS also. Thanks for joining us today, and yeah, I hope you enjoy what we've got lined up. Background on me is I started in hospitality, food and beverage attendant, and then moved into tourism, flying for Virgin Blue and Air New Zealand. Then decided to share a bit of that and went lecturing, including both those subjects, and a bit of event management. Absolutely loving being part of the PIMS team, and yeah, happy to help back at campus where I'm based mostly if you've got any inquiries.
Brilliant, thanks Angie. And Angie does an awesome job being back on site and organising all the Career Week registrations and payments and all of that. Also processing our student applications as well. So next up is Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rachel. As Michelle said, I help her out with the visas and insurances. I started at PIMS only at the beginning of February, so I'm still learning. So lockdown was a bit interesting for me, working from home, but hopefully I can be real helpful for everyone going forward.
Thanks, Rachel. And so what I'm going to do is share my screen and hopefully just provide a bit of information, an overview of our course for those of you that don't know, and give you a bit of an update. So bear with me 2 seconds and I'll just do this. Okay. So at PIHMS, for those of you that don't know, we specialise in tourism, hospitality and hotel management. And whilst we do study and specialise in those subjects, that's not all our graduates get into, and we'll talk more about that in a bit. PIHMS has been going for 25 years. We are located in the beautiful Taranaki. So we've just got the one campus in New Plymouth. It's around 5 minutes outside of New Plymouth. And what's really great for the students is that our campus itself is ran like a hotel. So it used to be a real hotel. PIHMS bought it 25 years ago. And now it's a hotel just for students. So the students sleep in the hotel rooms, and there's 150 rooms. All of them are twin share. And the students use the hotel as part of their practical learning experience. So when they very first arrive, they'll get greeted on the reception, and the people that check them in are students. They're the ones that are training on the reception area. We have lots of student facilities like a pool, a volleyball court, a gym, and that's all free to use for the students as well. What's really good about the hotel rooms is that students don't have to worry about trying to find accommodation, and they also get to live amongst their friends as well. So there is no other place like it in New Zealand. It is, and PIHMS is quite unique like that. The next up, I just want to show you the campus. So this is what it looks like. We have the accommodation blocks. This is where the students sleep. And then this is like the pool and barbecue area, student lounge. Some of you may have been to our campus when we had our meal day last year. This is our classrooms along here. And then we've got our kitchen and Taranaki restaurant and La Vista. And my colleague Summer is gonna give you a bit of a virtual tour in a minute. So with PIHMS, there's, I guess, 3 main elements to our course. The first one is the practical training, which is what I touched on when speaking about the hotel campus. So students will run the different departments of the hotel, and then they do 3 months of that if they're doing the degree course, and then they do 3 months of business and management studies. And then for every single student that completes the 6 months on campus, we find them a job. It's a paid industry placement is what we call it. And if they decide to do the degree, they go on 2 6-month placements. We do find students placements overseas. So we place a lot of students in New Zealand, but a lot decide to go to Australia. And we've also placed students in the UK. Some have gone to the USA and the Maldives as well. So I will talk you through the PIHMS course, and this is where there has been a couple of changes. So students can either enroll directly into our 3-year degree, and this is how the 3-year degree is broken up. Again, I will send this to you, so don't have to worry about trying to write it all down. They do 3 months business management studies, 3 months of practical training in the restaurant and the kitchen, and then a 6-month paid industry placement. They then do come back for the 2nd year, and they do 3 months business management, 3 months practical training in rooms division, and a 6-month paid industry placement. And then the final year on campus is really focusing on the business management and the event side as well. Now, for students that don't want to enroll into the 3-year degree, we do offer a 1-year level 5 diploma in hospitality management. And that is very similar to the 1st year of the degree. Students can then progress and go on to our level 6 diploma in hospitality management. If students aren't quite sure if they want to commit to a 3-year degree or if they just want to do 1 year, that's where the student recruitment team is there to help them with that decision. If a student does enroll into the 3-year degree and decides after 1 year that it's not quite right for them, what we can do is we can cross-credit them into a level 5. And that's really good for them because it means that they don't just walk away with nothing. They've still got a qualification. And the same with after 2 years as well. If a student decides that after 2 years, the degree's not right for them, or perhaps they get offered a full-time job whilst working on their paid industry placement, which does happen, they can also cross-credit, and we'll give them a level 6 diploma. 96% of our students that graduate do end up in employment within 3 months, which is really, really high. If you do have a look at some other colleges or universities, some of their graduation to employment rates will be as low as 40 or 50%. And the reason why PIMS does have such a good statistic is because when students graduate, they not only have their qualification, but they also have work experience, which comes from the paid industry placement, but also the practical skills as well from what we've taught them on campus. And our graduates work all over the world in a really wide range of roles, and you'll hear about some of those roles in a bit. So what they need to come to PIMS, they need to have completed year 12 and have NCA level 2. 10 credits has to be level 1 literacy, 10 level 1 numeracy credits, and then 60 at level 2 or higher. There is no particular subjects that they need to have, but we would recommend if students are thinking about what subjects they want to take, then definitely keeping up English and maths, business or economics. Our degree and the diplomas is management focused. Also, if they've done tourism or hospitality or geography, that's really good as well. So they just need to have 60 credits at level 2. The last one, 17 and a half, it isn't set in stone. So we do take some students once they finished year 12 and they are 17. The reason why it might be better for them to come when they're 17 and a half is so that they can go overseas for their paid industry placement. And not every hotel in New Zealand will take under 18s for their placement as well. We do have 4 intakes a year. So we've got February, April, July, and October. I wanted to talk quickly about career weeks. So we normally hold career weeks in April, July, and October during the school holidays. It's open to year 12 and year 13 students. And students come to campus and spend 3 nights with us. We give them a taster in the different departments of the hotel, teach them more about the different roles our graduates get into. They speak to our students, and it's a really good way for them to find out if PIMS is going to be the right option for them, or even if tourism and hospitality is going to be the right option for them. For the July and October career weeks this year, we should have maybe a decision in the next couple of weeks. We're going to reassess and see what's happening, and we'll definitely notify you if that's going to go ahead. So for students that are interested in applying to come to PIMS, we definitely recommend that they get their applications in sooner or later. As you heard me say, we do only have 150 bedrooms, and it is compulsory for students to live on site during those first and second year of their degree. Once those rooms are full up, we do not take any more students. So we recommend, especially for the February and April intake, that students apply around 6 months before, and they can do that through our website. So once we receive their online application, they will we'll get in contact with them, and then there's a telephone interview that they need to do. That will be with myself or Michelle, and then we can get an offer out to them. That is it for now. If anyone has any questions, don't forget to use that Q&A box, and we'll be using that. So next up, what I want to do is hand you over to my colleague Summit. He's going to take you on a bit of a journey through PIMS. Hi Summit, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. Welcome everyone. And I'll just turn my camera the other way, so I'll show you where you're coming from. Well, this is where your winning career will start in hospitality, business, and very briefly, this is our reception counter, and this is where front office personnel, they are trained on how to be a good receptionist out in the industry. Very briefly, I'll show you around our student lounge areas. Now, at the moment, we've got some restrictions over here, of course, because of the COVID-19 that's going around. But otherwise, this is the area where you all are allowed to have some parties, or if you want to watch a movie, there's a TV there, and some.
Oh, hopefully his reception comes back. We'll just give it a few more seconds, see if it kicks back in. Oh, yes.
Yeah, there are students at the back, but there we are. So this is our swimming pool area.
Brilliant.
It's quite a popular place, especially during summertime. Just to give you all a brief about myself. I'm an ex-graduate from PIMS. I've studied in the year 2013 and 2014. In New Zealand, I started off my career with the amazing Sky City Group at Sky City Grand Hotel. And after that, I've worked throughout New Zealand. My most recent employment was again with Sky City, where I was the relieving duty manager. And before that, I was working as a front office manager at the farm at Cape Kidnappers in Napier. And I can only say that as a student of this college, it has helped me a lot to make my stand in the industry. That's all from me. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Sumit. I'm going to pop you back on mute, and I'm going to go through to Andrew. Hi, Andrew.
Hey, Anita. And hey. So, well, firstly, I'd just like to apologise for my shocking haircut here. I promise you that I am booked into the hairdressers tomorrow. But as you can imagine, they're pretty booked up at the moment. So next time you see us in the next update, haircut will be amazing. Hope you guys are all doing good in the lockdown. But what I'm going to do here to start with is just give you a bit of an update on how PIMS is dealing with COVID-19. And then I'll go into a little bit on the academic and business and management side of our courses. So yeah, the PIMS staff have been working really hard since January, putting into place measures to ensure the safety of our students and staff. And for the students in the academic and business and management section, this is all currently being taught online, with students learning from their bubbles at home and the lecturers teaching from their bubbles at home as well. And this will continue until further notice. All new students who are starting the course for the new intakes, they will all be starting on the business and management side, learning from home until further notice. So students who are currently in the practical training section of the course, now this is about to start up next week, and now that we have gone down to level 2, and they will all be doing a lot of strict social distancing policies and procedures that have been put into place, and sanitation measures as well, to ensure, again, the safety of our students and staff. For our students on industry placement, this is currently not possible. So all students who are meant to be on industry placement will continue with their studies here at PIMS, either the business and management side or the practical operational training, and then they'll do the industry placement once this becomes possible. So now I'll touch briefly on the academic side of our course. So throughout the course here at PIMS, there's a range of business and management subjects, including marketing, management, tourism, accounting, and innovations. So these are similar subjects that students take at a university for a business degree, but here at PIMS, they're taught in a very, very different way. So to start off with, our classroom sizes are much smaller, and the classes are more run like a workshop with a focus on student-centered learning. And there's a big focus on students working through examples and researching topics in groups. And with the technology that we have with the Canvas online learning platform that we use, students are still able to work through examples and work in teams and breakout groups, and rather than just it being a simple webinar. So that the students are still able to learn in exactly the same manner as they would in the classroom. So when the students go into their different groups to learn, the lecturers are able to jump in and chat and speak to the students in their groups of 3 and 4. And the feedback that we've been getting from students and lecturers has been really positive with that as well. So yeah, this approach allows for some really positive interactions, and the class is always really loud and busy and fun. And for me, I went to university, so it was a massive shock when I first saw this for myself. So I slept through, just like most students, 90 or 95% of my classes. So to come and see students actually speaking in their class was absolutely amazing to see. So really good engagement. The students aren't just numbers, and they get to know the lecturers really well. And for me, I see that as one of the positive, really positive parts of the course. So the reason why students come to study at PIMS in the first place is to help them get into the business and management side of the tourism and hospitality industry. And so, yeah, this is why we cover the business and management subjects in our academic part of the course. And how we spell this out to students is we put it in quite simple terms. So every hotel or tourism operator or restaurant is a business. And at the end of the day, they're there to make money. So students who are getting into the business and management side, they need to know how to promote their business, whatever that is, if it's a restaurant, if it's a hotel, or if it's a tourism operator. They need to know how to manage their staff. They need to know, have some understanding of the finances and accounting side. They need to know how to manage their staff. So this is why we include the business and management side into the course. So now I'll just quickly touch on some of the roles and the career pathways that our students get into once they graduate. So there's so many different career pathways that our students can get into. And that's one misconception that a lot of students have. And when we tell students that it's not just hotel management that you can get into, they just light up. So our students have a wide range of career pathways, like I said, from management within hotels to extend out to the hospitality and tourism industry as well for the management side. Our students get into event management, marketing, human resources, finance, IT, sales. And many of our students start up there and run their own businesses as well, especially restaurants and bars. And one thing that I didn't realize until I started working here at PIMS was a lot of PIMS graduates actually end up working outside the hospitality and tourism industry as well. And that's especially relevant now in times like COVID-19, where they can take the experience and skills that they've learned from the hospitality and tourism industry and transfer that into other industries. And that's especially common for our degree graduates. So we have students working for marketing companies down in Wellington. A human resource manager for the New Zealand Police as a PIMS graduate. She started off working in hotels and then transferred over to the public sector. There's so many different career pathway switches similar to those stories. But yeah, hopefully that little overview was useful. Holler out if you have any questions, and hopefully we can see some of you again soon once this is all over. Thank you.
Cheers, Andrew. Thanks for that. Someone did ask where your background is from, and I put from, is it Big White where you used to work in Canada?
Yeah. So the reason why I've got this crazy background of a ski resort, you're right, Anita, Big White in Canada, is because this is, Big White is where I first got a taste for working in the hospitality and tourism industry. When I was 18, I went over to Canada and had an amazing time and fell in love with the industry.
Thanks very much, Andrew. So next up, I want to introduce you all to Sally, Brad and Tim. Sally, Brad and Tim are part of what we call the PIHMS Advisory Board. And what that means is that PIHMS, the senior management team, meets with the PIHMS Advisory Board 4 times a year to make sure the content that we are teaching the students is what's happening in the industry. So hello guys, thank you so much for joining us today. I know that you are all really busy. Sally, if you want to go first, just give a quick introduction.
Hi, so thanks Anita for that, and thanks PIHMS for this opportunity. So I'm Sally Atfield, as Anita said, on the advisory board for PIHMS, but I work for tourism industry Aotearoa, who is the advocacy and lobbying organisation for the tourism industry. So not to be confused with Tourism New Zealand, who are were previously responsible for the marketing of New Zealand internationally, but are now also picking up that role in terms of kickstarting a domestic campaign and also reimagining our industry. So we've been pretty busy over the last few months, trying to ensure that tourism's voice is heard in terms of all the challenges the industry that is currently facing. So we've been watching with interest today, obviously, the recent budget announcement. I guess that one of the key points for all of you is that the industry is certainly facing some challenging times at the moment, and certainly the impact of COVID. We were one of the first industries to actually be impacted by it. But I think the really important thing to remember is that we will get through this. History shows us that through difficult times and periods as great innovation actually comes. And this is a wonderful opportunity. So what we want to ensure is that we continue to have students actually coming through, and that tourism and hospitality, and particularly hotels, of course, is seen as a valued and viable career, and that can offer lots and lots of opportunities. Because as I say, we will get through this, and you know what we don't want to be in is in the situation that we were in probably a couple of years ago, where we were really struggling for workers that you know, they just weren't out there. So we need organisations like PIHMS and that to continue to be training our potential workers, because, you know, in the next couple of years, the opportunities for the industry and that are really going to be exciting and continue to be challenging, and need, you know, new people, new faces, new ideas. So, you know, organisations like PIHMS, really important that you are still here to deliver this for us and for our workforce of the future.
Thanks, Sally. Over to you, Brad.
Oh, hi everybody. Afternoon. Sorry, I was a bit late. We had the really actually quite invigorating opportunity today to actually reopen our precinct here in Auckland, and it's been a challenging one, but a really great day actually in our history, and just welcoming customers back has been fantastic. And you know, we've sold a heap of rooms, and we started Monday morning with nothing on the books, literally for the rest of May. We've been closed through the virus, and we opened up our channels on Tuesday morning, and it's flying off the shelf. So it's been really great to see, you know, humans wanting to get out of their bubbles and get social again, of course socially distanced, but it's been great. So it's been a busy day, and apologies for my lateness. Yeah, so my name's Brad Burnett. I'm the Group GM of Sky City Hotels. Obviously we've got the 2 hotels here in Auckland. We're building a 3rd one in conjunction with the convention centre, which had a little fire last year. So it's been a heck of a year for us, but we're going to get there with that, and we'll have a third 5-star hotel there. So 1,000 rooms across 3 blocks, and we're about to open our luxury hotel in Adelaide, South Australia as well later this year. My background really has been nothing but hotels. So for 20 years, I entered as a part-time porter and really have earned my stripes working through the rungs of the ladder over that 20-year period, and have got qualified over time with different opportunities that have come my way. And it's been a really rewarding career. I really value the partnership with PIMS, and just want to say thanks finally just to be part of the discussion and part of the panel today, because I really do enjoy the opportunity to communicate with people that can influence the future of our industry. And it is, just to echo Sally's comments, there is a really bright future there, despite a few hiccups. There are lots of reasons to feel optimistic longer term. So a bit of pain right now, but we'll get there. And I know we've got a bit more answer a few questions shortly. But I'll just say to anyone who wants to reach out after this or have a conversation about anything regarding hotels or tourism, please feel free to reach out.
Thanks very much, Brad. And next up is Tim. I will unmute you, Tim.
Afternoon, everybody. After those two intros, I don't think I really need to say anything. My name's Tim Reynolds, General Manager of the Copthorne in Auckland, part of Millennium Hotels and Resorts. We've got 20 hotels spread around New Zealand, half of which are now open, which is fantastic. Likewise to the other two, I'm just happy to be here to really sell the industry. We love the industry, we're passionate about the industry, and we want it to really come back. I've also been in the industry for over 20 years, started at the bottom, worked up, and just happy to be here today.
Brilliant, thanks very much. I do have some questions that they were sent in prior to this, so it's a combination. And so the first question that came in, Sally, what advice would you give to students who are considering travel and tourism as a career choice in this COVID-19 climate?
Absolutely do it. And for all the reasons I think that we've just said, the industry will recover. It will recover strongly. And, there are still going to be, Brad's alluded to the fact that, they're building a new 300-room hotel in Auckland. And there are still plenty of projects going on around the country. The convention centre in Auckland is still there to come on, as is Te Pai and Christchurch. So the roles and the opportunities are absolutely still there. So we need that future workforce to be there and to be able to run this industry in the future.
Fantastic. And Tim, I think this is another question that came in, which is very similar. Would you still recommend a student to study tourism and hospitality?
Yeah, definitely, especially PIMS. I think Andrew summed it up earlier on his presentation. What you've got to remember, the skills you learn at PIMS are very transferable across a lot of industry. You can learn what you're learning there: marketing, finance, HR, IT, hotel management can be definitely used as management in general. So no, definitely it's a good time, I think, to get out there and study.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Another question that came in, and this one was for you, Brad. Do you feel students need a diploma, certificate or degree to enter your business, or is work experience more valuable now COVID-19's happened?
Yeah, well, there's a place for everybody in our industry, and Tim and I are two good examples of people that have probably had some success through work experience and working our way through the grades over the years. But different qualifications come with different skill sets, obviously, and obviously different roles along the way are more suitable for more qualified students. So I would say there is a place for everybody. I think the things that trump that or look really great on a CV is actually people's just general attitude and problem solving capability and their demeanour and how they treat other people is probably the first thing we look for. So it comes, inherently comes down to someone's personal values, and that probably, along with qualifications that can fit various roles within our sector, is an absolute winner. But you've got to have that attitude and that drive, and again, that problem solving ability, I think, has to be inherent within, to be able to be successful in any career, actually.
Yeah, definitely. Sally, it is hard to know what is going to happen over the next couple of months, but is there any indication or predictions moving forward?
I'm sure there's lots of indications and predictions. Look, I mean, the emphasis in the short term is and I'm taking this question to mean about tourism in New Zealand generally. Obviously, the initial emphasis is going to be on that domestic market, but look, we know that domestic tourism is obviously just on its sheer mathematics cannot replace the value and that the international tourists actually brought to New Zealand as well. There's more and more talk, obviously, of the Trans-Tasman bubble in terms of the borders between Australia and New Zealand opening up. And there's a strong desire on both sides of the Tasman for that to happen. Interestingly enough, we're seeing all sorts of announcements coming out of Europe as well around borders opening up. I mean, Iceland are opening theirs up, Austria. So that the thing that is going to drive it is obviously that airline capacity in terms of actually people being able to physically get here. So it is, look, TIA and Horwath HTL did a hotel sentiment survey, and the results of that were released this week. And look, the reality is this isn't a short fix. I think the mood of the majority of operators was that this was 24 months in terms of things starting to progress back to a level of normal, but it's also a great opportunity to address some of the challenges that we were having in all sorts of different ways.
Yeah, definitely. Tim, this question came in from a careers advisor, and it says, in your business, what roles do you believe will be available for students once they have completed a year or two of studies in travel and tourism?
Interesting question. I guess in the current environment, every role will be available in the next couple of years or so as everything slowly comes back. As Sally said, it's not going to be a short-term fix. Things are going to slowly progress forward, and by the time a student who studies now and does the 2-year degree, when they come out, there's potentially going to be a lot of opportunities out there. 3
years for the degree, but
3 years. Yep.
2 years for
Even
the level
better.
6 diploma.
Even better.
And the last question that came through, Brad, what do you enjoy most about working in this industry?
Oh, far out. Well, I think as tacky as this sounds, it's the relationships and the people that I've met over my 20 years, and it's given me the opportunity to work around the world and spend time up in the UK and Europe. And some of the events I was involved in those places, FIFA World Cups, and literally having the England football team stay with us when the Rooneys and the Beckhams and that were part of it, is always one that stands out. And the events closer to home here, Lions Rugby Tours, being at the coalface of that, the Rugby World Cups, and having access to things that you wouldn't normally otherwise have, has been a real privilege to be part of. And I always say to our teams that people generally come to us to have a good time, and it's their leisure time that they are giving to us to create great experiences. And I think that's a real privilege to hold, and what a great way to spend your days. I mean, it's hard not to be excited or feeling good when you come to work in a really cool environment like a hotel, where people are generally there to have a good time as well. And so I've always viewed it that way, that we're lucky to do what we do. I feel really lucky and proud and privileged to do what I do, and because it's given me access to so much, and I'm always grateful for that. And you know, those are probably the key messages that I'd pass on to young people, or again, people who have an opportunity to influence young people, is that the opportunities are endless. You know, whether it's people, the things you get to see and do, the places you get to work, like Andrew's screenshot there. You know, his background. It's a great world, and you know, this industry allows you to really get involved in it at the coalface. And opportunities, you know, the opportunities are endless, and we talked a little bit about that today, but it's overall great fun.
Yeah, that's thanks so much, Sally, Tim, and Brad. If any careers advisor does have any questions, put them through to the Q&A box, and we'll try to answer those for the rest of the session. I am quickly going to go to Summit now, and Summit, you should be in a room.
I am actually in a room, and very shortly I'll show them around. This is where. Sorry, go ahead, Anita.
I was going to say this is a PIMS room, but you were going to say exactly the same.
So this is one of our rooms, and as you can see, when you come and enroll yourself at PIMS in level 5, level 6, you live in one of our shared accommodations. We've got 2 desks. There are 2 drawers for you. There is a mini bar, and I'll give you a little sneak peek at the bathroom as well, how it looks like.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Now, yeah, the accommodation blocks are very safe. They are coded just like in any other hotel. A key is programmed for a particular door of a particular block. So nobody else can get into your block unless you have given them access or swipe to your block. So the safety-wise as well, the accommodation at PIMS is pretty safe, and we've got security cameras around all the blocks. You can see one right up there. And yeah, that's pretty much the accommodation block. Now I'm moving towards the restaurant. I'll see you all there very shortly.
Yeah, see you, Summit. Thank you very much. So next up, I want to introduce you to a PIMS graduate. His name is Rush. Hello.
Hey everyone, how are you?
So Rush, can you tell the careers advisors and teachers watching just a bit about your journey and where you grew up and all the rest of it?
Yeah, okay. All right, yeah, well, I'm first and foremost, thank you so much for the opportunity. I kind of second what Brad said earlier, is that it's just we can see from the people on the call here that there is a bit of a fraternity that happens after you graduate. You start to build connections all over the world, and you obviously stay in touch, and I'm really sort of grateful to be a part of it, so thank you. For me, I'm calling from Fiji right now. Hopefully, Sally, we can join your little Trans-Tasman bubble there in a couple of months, so I'll probably give you a bell after this and say good day. For me, yeah, born in Fiji, raised and educated in New Zealand. I'm from a small town in Wellington called Lower Hutt. Went to Hutt Valley High School. Back then, that had quite a colourful history, but I hear it's doing quite well now. I graduated PIMS in 2006, and since had a pretty exciting career. So I've helped open hotels. I opened the Holiday Inn in Wellington. I think it's a Ridges now. You can imagine an empty hotel with nothing inside, and I remember getting paid to run around town looking for tours and experiences to help build up the front desk and concierge, filling rooms with beds and linen, and of course eating all the M&Ms from room service while doing it. You know, it was the absolute best. Using the skills that we learned in hospitality and tourism at PIMS, I've held roles in recruitment. As a large portion of that is customer service and obviously project and time management. I've also been involved with some of New Zealand's largest thoroughbred races, having worked for the Wellington Racing Club. So that was leveraging the conference and event skills that we learned during our time in Taranaki. After New Zealand, I moved to Australia and used the skills I learned at PIMS and adapted them more for a modern era. So having experience in travel and tourism, I moved it more towards the technology sector. So I was the digital marketing strategist for one of Rupert Murdoch's News Corporation publications in Cairns, North Queensland. And I used my knowledge of customer experience to help build one of the most profitable news websites at the time. So we created a travel section on the site, which is where the knowledge gained from PIHMS, the tourism industry management side of things, came in extremely handy. I was then picked up by the regional tourism organisation, Tourism Tropical North Queensland, as their digital manager. During this time, our role was to promote North Queensland to the world. So I used the tourism marketing skills learned at PIMS to drive growth and visitation for the region. So if you've heard of the Great Barrier Reef, it's highly likely that our team had something to do with it at some point in time. I then moved to Sydney and went back to work for News Corp. I was the social media manager for the state of New South Wales. So here I used the business management, human resources and finance skills that I learned at PIMS to manage a small team. We were overseeing 23 newspapers across the state, sharing news, travel stories and the occasional meme. They were just starting back then. I've also worked in state government as well, and the skills I learned throughout my career helped me build parks, playgrounds and experiences across the state. So all thanks to the seeds that were planted in Taranaki all those years ago. And now I am overseeing the global digital marketing for Tourism Fiji. So I relocated here with the dog and the missus and have loved every minute of it.
Awesome. And why do you love working in the tourism industry?
Man, I got a second what Brad mentioned earlier. Like I think about this often, and what I love about working in the industry is that it does sound corny actually, is the people that you meet, the places that you get to travel to, and the things you get to experience. You know, like some of those examples that Brad mentioned earlier. You know, there's so many of those all over the world. It's such a unique experience. So I've been on both sides of the fence. I've stuck in an office. I've done the 9 to 5, but I've also traveled the world and had fun doing what I love. It's an easy choice, if you ask me. You meet so many people from different walks of life at PIMS that you end up having connections all over the world by the time you graduate. It really is the best.
Brilliant, thank you. And I've got one last question for you. How do you feel that PIMS has helped you achieve your career to date?
Well, for me, I think living, studying and working at PIMS has taught me quite a lot. Not only from the books that we read, but then also life in general. You know, so with the practical skills that we had, I had my paid industry placements in Wellington and in Melbourne. Learning F&B helped me get my first placement, which is great. But combined with year 2 front office and housekeeping, it kind of helped me mature into a better person and give me the confidence to use my skills overseas and in other industries. Year 3 and the degree is what really set me up though. This is kind of what helped me realize that there was a world of opportunity within the industry of tourism as a whole, as a sector. And that's where it started to fascinate me. So, you know, it was the tourism marketing, the business management, the HR, the organizational behavioral studies that really stuck with me. So that's helped me get to where I am today. It's really helped me build my emotional intelligence and kind of leadership skills. So yeah, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Awesome. And there is a question that's just come through actually. And someone said, can you give your perspective on being a PIM student, e.g. what is the workload or a typical day like? And it may have changed because you did graduate, what, 14 years ago? So we can definitely put an update on the information that we send through tomorrow to everyone. But yeah, what's your perspective?
So for me, it was quite interesting. So I think one of your earlier slides, Anita, was that the average age of joining PIMS is around 17 years or 17 and a half. So that's quite an interesting time where you've got so many questions. You've just gone through this whirlwind of high school and you're just trying to figure out what you're doing. For me, I was probably an insecure kind of introverted kid. and then moving away, living on site on campus, you're sort of thrown into this world of meeting new people, of uni life basically. But you're waking up every day, you're having breakfast, you're setting up your routine, you go into class, and then afterwards you've got a bit of free time to explore Taranaki. Like for me, that was amazing. You know, the first thing was that it got me out of home, and it got me to a region that I had never really experienced, and to live and work and play and stay there it was something that I'll never forget. Study wise, I think the classroom setup and the lecturers were able to not only teach you challenging and complex tasks, but they were there. You had that FaceTime where they could actually sit down with you one-on-one and give you the time that you needed. So it gave you the confidence to learn, you know, so that was quite helpful too.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I'm sure the careers advisors and teachers that are watching this would have found your story really useful and information that they can pass on to their students in their school. So thank you so much for coming to us live from Fiji. I guess that's what's great about Zoom and COVID, is that we are using technology a bit more to our advantage. So thank you for that. I am now going to go back to Sumit, who's should be in the kitchen and the restaurant area, so you guys can see what it's like. Hi, Sumit.
There's a little bit of a divider on the way to the restaurant. Healthy in the restaurant, so bear with me for a moment. There are signs everywhere telling students what to do, what not to do, and to.
Sumit, your Wi-Fi keeps cutting in and out, so we may cut it short.
Just one moment. Yeah. I think it should be fine now. I'm on a 4G. Now this is our main restaurant. We call it as La Vista. This is where you will come as a guest to dine, and also learn how to be a good waiter or a good restaurant manager and a shift supervisor. There is a bar around here where you learn how to make cocktails and coffees, of course. I'll give you a very brief tour of the kitchen, how our kitchen looks like. Just to give you very briefly, that's our kitchen.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Sumit.
Thank you.
And so, talking of the kitchen, we are going to go over now and speak to one of our chef lecturers, Gordon, and he can tell you a bit about his area.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So we're coming live from the hub of the hotel. We're in the kitchen at the moment. So yeah, my name's Gordon. I'm originally from the UK, from Scotland, and have been a chef since I left school at 16. Done a culinary arts and management degree, and basically worked my way through hotels and restaurants, and ended up having teams of up to about 45, 50 chefs underneath me. So about 10 years ago, came across to New Zealand for 4 weeks and never went home. So that's home's now New Zealand, and I joined PIMS 6 years ago. So basically part of the first year of the degree is restaurant and kitchen operations. The students will take part in basically every single area of that. I think the unique thing about PIMS is that they, as you mentioned before, they live and work basically and learn in an actual hotel. So they're surrounded by that all day long. And I think that's one of the unique things, because we don't hide them from anything that goes on. They do every single area, from bringing in the deliveries, from putting them away, making sure that everything's at the right temperature, to preparing the food, serving the food, building those relationships with people from all over the world, students from all over the world. And then obviously when they go into the restaurant, again, it's making cocktails, coffees. And I think it's all about not just making 1 or 2 coffees or serving a table of 4. it's about serving hundreds. We've been paying a lot of attention over the last year and a half of really trying to mix things up so the students get these skills where they adapt. So that when they go into placement, they're able to adapt to different situations. So we're kind of tricking them a little bit recently and springing things on them and telling them they have a coach load of 100 guests turning up. We might just change service one night just to really get them to work on those problem solving skills that we spoke about earlier, and really adapting to things rather than just having that plain simple service every single day. So we've been really concentrating on that in the last year, and letting the students really kind of work things out and problem solve themselves. So yeah, that's what we do here. It's very much hands-on, and the teamwork element of it is huge as well. Getting to know each other, as everyone's talked about before, is the people side of it, and meeting new people and building new relationships. So yeah, that's what we do in the first 10 weeks, and that's obviously backed up with the theory side as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much, Gordon. There are loads and loads of questions that have come through. So if we don't manage to get any or all of them answered live, we will definitely be sending these out tomorrow with all the answers for everyone that wants to know them. So I will just have a look and see if we've got any for our guest speakers, and if there's any that are ready to be answered. Let's have a look. So one of the questions, do you have, do the students clean their rooms themselves, or is it part of the rotation of learning and housekeeping? So yep, the students in the second year, when they do their 3 months of practical training on site, they will do 5 weeks in housekeeping. So they will, with our housekeeping lecturers, they will go in and clean the rooms, which is awesome for the first year students because it means they never have to clean their room or make their bed. But then for 5 weeks in the second year of the degree or the level 6 diploma, they've got to clean everyone else's rooms and make everyone else's beds. Another question is there security person 24 hours? Gordon, you can answer this one because Gordon is also our health and safety officer on site.
Yeah, so what we have is Sumit is actually our accommodation manager. So he lives on site. So Sumit, who was here earlier, at the weekends, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, we then have an additional private security that come and tour around the grounds, check for any, anything that shouldn't be going on. Even when it comes to, student life is student life at the end of the day. Most of the students are over 18. The ones who are not are in separate areas of the accommodation block, but the students are still not allowed to create noise or have parties as such, so they have a student area. So security still looks after any bad behaviour or anything like that as well, so that all the students obviously have a safe area to study and live. So yes is the answer.
Brilliant, thanks very much, Gordon. So it's 4 o'clock. That last hour has gone by so quick. So there are still a few questions on that unanswered. So we will get, like I said, we'll send out the recording to everyone tomorrow, along with all the questions and answers that have gone on today. I just want to personally thank all the guest speakers that have taken their time out of their day to do the live session. So thanks to the Pimm staff members, but also massive thanks to Sally, Brad, Tim and Rush as well. And thank you all for watching live. No doubt you're all looking forward to returning to school next week. We were back on the Pimm's campus today for a little bit. So that was really, really nice. And we have our students that are doing the practical training parts of the course return to campus on Monday. If any of you do have any further questions, definitely feel free to jump onto our website and send through info at, and like I said, we'll send through the rest of the questions tomorrow. So thanks everyone, enjoy your afternoon and evening, and yeah, hopefully see some of you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.